I want to talk first as a preamble to my presentation on what is a challenge for us people of color. What's wrong with us? I think number one, we don't take ourselves serious. That's the first thing. And that's why we always present a semblance that seeks to present an image to the world that we are not. And that's why we drive cars we don't afford, because we want to present a semblance to the world of the people that we are not. We wear expensive clothes when we are staying in back rooms, because the public arena must consider us to be people of high importance. And this is because internally we are empty. And when I say we, I'm not talking about you. I don't know you. I'm talking generally. Number two, I said number one, we show people. We don't take ourselves serious. Because at this particular point. Ne? Number two, we are dramatic. As people of color, we are full of drama. When we have an opportunity, space to perform, we don't reflect originality. We perform with pseudo. We are spurious. We are fake. We want to impress, and that's why we never impact. So statistically, in retrospect, if you can check where we come from as people of color and where we are, and what is it that we have achieved, and what is it that we are doing. If you check the apartheid system, it was designed in a manner that it clouds us. It does not give us space. So even when you go to Soweto in townships, the house is there. You can hear a child being birthed, next door, because your bedroom is just a wall away from the bedroom of next door. So that has caused also our mentality to be clouded, our mentality to be squeezed. We are unable to think beyond the box that was set for us. So since the system has shelved our minds within a box, we are unable to get rid of that box. And that's why we preach, think outside of the box, not get outside of the box. Are you with me? Yeah. Think outside of the box. So my question is, if you think outside of the box, only your head, Miriam, is outside of the box. Your heart is still inside. And everything that concerns you is still inside the box. And that's why we are operating within limitations. How do I know that? When your fellow black person excels, you have a problem. If a person who's not like you excels the same way that a black person excels, you celebrate them. You embrace them. When a black person is selling water and they tell you this water is 100 rands a bottle, you have a problem with the price. But you can go to Woolworths and buy the same water with 120 rands. And we think that this is because we are selfish. We think for ourselves. It's not selfishness. It's not even lack of altruism, but it's self-hate. If you hate yourself internally without you being aware that you hate yourself, it will be reflected externally on how you treat others. So if you are going to undermine the capacity of the next person, if you are going to want to negotiate the value of what somebody else is presenting to you, when you don't know the process that produced the value, it's not an issue with that person, it's an issue with you. Internally, you hate yourself. Internally, you are not free with yourself. You are not in a comfortable space with yourself. But if you reach a point and a level where you are comfortable with yourself internally, there's nothing externally that will threaten you. There's nothing externally that will intimidate you. There's nothing externally that you will look down upon. You will actually look for opportunities to invest in the values that are designed by others. Because most people who don't want to put in value in the values of others, they want others to put in value in their value. And that is discrepancy. It's an unfair treatment. So fair treatment is the law of reciprocity. Pindisa, what you do unto others will be done back unto you. So what you expect from others, you should be the first one to do for others. If you expect love from others, you should be the first one to love others. I'm done with the introduction. So the dramatic nature of ourselves, if you can be conscious of what I'm saying and go and observe how we live our lives in the majority as Black people, you'll find that we are dramatic to each other only. Only. The rest of the other races we respect in the same way we were supposed to respect one another. Our respect is directed towards other people because of self-hate. We are not comfortable in our pigmentation. And that's why, remember, what you see affects how you think. It's a missed call. Let me redial. What you see affects how you think. So you are thinking the way you are thinking because of the pigmentation of the skin that you see. So you think that there is no value in a darker skin. So what you see, how you treat what you see, affects how you think. And that's the theme of my presentation. The power of your thinking. If you are not thinking, by the way, let me just present a truth that there are people who are thinking but are not thinking. There are people who are what?
Thinking.
But they are not
Thinking.
And most people are thinking, but they are not thinking. They are thinking because it is natural for the traffic of thoughts to go on in your mind. Even right now as I'm speaking, some of you are thinking about your couch at home. And you never intentionally wanted to think about the couch, but the thought came. And that's why we must manage the traffic that goes on in our heads. Because you can't claim headship if you are not thinking. So headship without thinking is entitlement mentality. And entitlement mentality is not progressive. It's abusive. People who think that they're entitled to stuff, they abuse others because they think this is mine, I deserve it, but you have not worked for it. You have not developed capacity for it. So headship is a byproduct of proper thinking. Say that after me. Headship is a byproduct of proper thinking. So proper thinking, it's intentional thinking. You don't just allow thoughts to control your behavioral economics, but you control thoughts in controlling your behavioral economics. So if you're going to reflect behavior intelligence, where you know what to think, you know what to say, you know where to say it, and you know to whom you are supposed to say it, and you know how you are supposed to say it. That's behavior intelligence. So that is a progeny of the status of your thinking. So most people don't even have reflection moments. That's why they don't have revelation. Revelation comes through reflection. If you have meetings with everybody else like today, but you never have a meeting with yourself, you are lost. Because out of this table, revelation may not be engendered. It is information that is coming here. But revelation is what comes from your moment. where you are reflecting on who you are, what you possess, and what you are living for. If you can't answer those questions, you can't answer the question, why are you at Harmony? You didn't hear me. Let me redial. If you can't answer those personal questions for your personal space, you can't answer the question why you are at Harmony. You may be at Harmony for the opportunity, not for purpose. And those who pursue opportunities, they've actually rendered themselves as statistics, stats. You are commoners. You are like everybody else outside who's looking for opportunities. I want you to hear me, guys. I drove all the way from Limpopo to come and address you. So commoners, their daily agenda is to pursue opportunities. And that's why we have people labeled as opportunists. Because they are looking for opportunities. That's their daily agenda. But we've got a scant, minuscule, handful amount of people who are not driven by opportunities. They are driven by purpose, which is magnetic to opportunities. So once you locate purpose, purpose has a magnet to attract opportunities. But if you are pursuing opportunities, you are amongst the plethora of other individuals that are pursuing opportunities too. And some of them are better capacitated than you. Some of them are better certificated than you. So you occupy that opportunity by grace before capacity. Because there are those with capacity, but they did not have the grace you have. But if you have located purpose, there is no way. It's God's order. That when you locate purpose, purpose is magnetic. It attracts opportunities. It's less effort for you. It's more effort for the grace. Let me redial. When you have located purpose and pursuing purpose, it's less effort for you. It's more effort for the grace. And the grace is not systematic, does not rely on systems. That's why you don't see the grace at work, because you know systems, you don't know the grace. The grace works in the background when you are asleep. Yeah, grace mentions your name in tables that you will not even get to yourself physically. But you are amazed at the opportunities that are presented to you with less effort from yourself. It's because you are purpose-driven. You will not leave a legacy in this life if you are not, let me close this thing, it's disturbing me. You will not leave a legacy in this life if you are not purpose-driven. You leave a vacancy. We will only talk about you the week we are to bury you. But after that, because there are no steps you left behind, there's nothing else we say about you. How many people do you know that have died? When last did you talk about them? It's a question of what have they left behind. That informs what we say about them. Posthumously. Say posthumously. Yeah. So, even after you have transcended to the other side of life, not death. There is death in the physical, not in the spiritual. In the spiritual, there is no death. How many of you are believers? I know Miriam believes, so I can be free to talk about these things. Eternal life is not started when you die. You are already living eternal life because your soul doesn't die. So you don't prepare for where you are headed to. You must live the life that reflects where you are headed to now. Because that's where you are now. So when you are walking there, we can't see your soul. We see your body. And that's why when your body expires, we continue not to see your soul. But your soul has been perennially been alive and being active. So the soul and the brain, there's a nuance between the two. Say nuance. Nuance. Yeah. Say dichotomy. Dichotomy. There's a dichotomy between the two. Dichotomy is when you talk, let me give an example of the difference between academia and industry. Academia is more on theory, industry is more on skill. It develops the skills. So you may not have the certification from theory, but you can have the skill and still beat somebody with a paper. And somebody with a paper can still beat you with a skill because you don't have the paper required to access the opportunity. So there is this battle. There is this dichotomy between these two industries. If you observe, those who are more educated, they undermine those who are not. Those who are not but talented, they undermine those who are, who lack in the capacity of talent. It's a reality now in South Africa. I stand here, my profile was not read. So you don't know whether I'm certificated or not. But you are enjoying talent. Amen. So I may not have the certification, but you are benefiting from talent. And you may have the certificate, and I can benefit theoretically from your certification because I'm operating like John from the wilderness. You are operating like a person from the synagogue where there's structure. In the wilderness, there's no structure, but capacity is still there. And somebody who is synagogue oriented still goes to somebody from the wilderness and say, baptize me. Because you have the skill to baptize. I have the theory, I don't have the skill. So I submit to you in terms of the skill to be baptized. You submit to me in terms of the theory. So if you are not thinking, you are sinking. If you are not thinking, you are sinking. And sinking means you are delayed to reach your destination. Because a boat that is on the journey towards a destination, once it sinks, it will never reach the destination. So if you are not thinking intentionally, you are sinking. And if you are not thinking, you are emotional. Because there's a relationship between thoughts and emotions. I will go back to that relationship of the soul and the brain. Thoughts and emotions, there's a conventional, conservative, and lifetime relationship. So if you don't empower your thinking, naturally, emotions are empowered. They stay empowered. All of us have got a potential to be angry. Maybe some of you more than all of us in the room here. When you are angry, you detonate like a bomb. Because those emotions are embedded within the makeups of all of us. You don't have to apply for emotions. They are there from birth. That's why you cried even at birth. Nobody taught you how to cry, but you cried. Nobody told you what is crying, but you cried because those emotions are embedded within your inherent makeup. But now rationale is developed. Emotions, they are there by nature. Rationale, it's there, but if not developed, emotions are going to take over. And that's why whenever there's a conflict, people abanganangqondo baba nenqindi. When there's a conflict, your mind can't think conflict resolution. So your emotions take over. And emotions are unreliable because when you react through emotions, that's the reputation you are selling to the people. People don't remember the good things in the presence of one bad thing that you do. No matter how good you have been in the past 10 years, just do one bad thing, that's what they will remember. And that's why even before you die, we remember only the months before your death, how you lived your life. Nobody remembers what you were doing in primary school. We forgot about those. We remember the few months that were remaining before your demise. So let's go to the relationship of the brain and the soul. So the mind, say the mind, is the soul of the brain. Say the brain is the organ within my skull. So if we open up your skull now, we will see brains. We can touch your brains. We can extract your brains. But who sees the mind? Think about it. Nobody can touch your mind, Pindisa. But if we can open up your skull, we'll extract your brain. Amen. So what is the relationship then between the mind and the brain? Because everybody thinks these are the same. How do you feed your brain and how do you feed your soul? Yeah. So the brain is fed from the soul. Yeah. The brain takes signals from the soul. Okay, which is the mind. And when the brain takes signals from the soul, it sends signals to the body. That's the relationship. So how is the brain empowered? By assimilation of information, literally. That's why people who went to school, it will be disillusioning if you behave in a way that is different to the people who went to school. Masingakubona laphana uloku ubehave like a stratmate. We are going to be shocked that kanti nalaba abafundile babehave kanje, because we expect that your brain that is informed thinks better than the brain that is illiterate. Okay? So the mind, it's fed from the place of reflection. We go back to having self moments, having meetings with yourself. That is where you are feeding the soul of the brain that must feed the brain. And the brain will then feed the body. So we don't see the relationship between the soul of the brain and the brain. We only see the actions that are reflected in your physical body. So how you behave physically, it's what tells us of what exists in the brain and in the mind. So if you want your brain to think like rain, you know when rain pours, it has no limits. People must just bring buckets. Yeah. Babeke ukuthi amanzi agcwale laphana kumabhakede. Mase indlulile lemvula le, they will still have the water to use in their fields, to use to drink, to use to cook. So if the people around you are not empowered, your brain is not raining. If the people around you are not empowered, your brain is not raining. Your cup is not full. It's not overflowing. So you are leaving people who surround you thirsty for growth, thirsty for development, thirsty for excellence, thirsty for leadership, thirsty for success. If you spend at least 10 days with somebody and there's nothing you're drinking from that person is not for your future. I don't want to say 10 hours, Miriam. I'm being lenient by saying 10 days and there's nothing you are drinking from the well of that person. That person, it's not a person of your future. How many people have you called Bochomi in your life? Where are they today? You are living in your future, they are not there. But in the past, which was your present, it felt to you like these are my people. So you measure and evaluate according to the capacity of their well, whether these people will survive the next 10 years with you or not. So if the well is empty, what are you going to drink for the next 10 years? So somebody said, and this is an aphorism, somebody said, people don't live organizations, they live leaders. Of course, it's not all the time, it's contextual, but it's truth. Why do people live leaders? It's because these leaders run dry from their wells. And when there's nothing to drink from their well, there is nothing to pursue anymore in this person. So that's why even my relationship with this person becomes toxic, becomes negative, because there is no more positivity from the well. If I'm overflowing from my well, I will feed you with positivity because I still have substance. But once I lose substance, I become negative because I have nothing from the well anymore to give you. I become toxic. So when I look at you, I no longer see an item to develop. I now see competition because I have not been developing myself. So our relationship, it's no longer vertical, it's now horizontal. We are like peers. The only difference is age. So we are peers not because of age, we are peers because of similitude of capacity. You were ahead of me in capacity, but now you ran dry. Ngakubamba endleleni. Mangokubamba endleleni mina nawe sesiyafana. And once we become peers, that respect that was there because of the lacuna, the gap that was there between me and you in terms of capacity, that respect is gone. There's no more veneration because ratswana jwale. And this is where people lose their integrity. You don't lose integrity by the things you say or do. Hello? You lose integrity by the things you lose in terms of capacity. There are uncles who had capacity before in townships that were well respected. And they lost that. Today, even Nabantwana Bangana, they say anything they want to say to them because there is no veneration anymore because of the absence of capacity. So don't lose capacity. Lose money, but don't lose capacity. Lose opportunities, but don't lose capacity. Because you will need capacity to gain opportunities again. You will need capacity to gain money again. So do you realize that capacity is not just a byproduct of a schooling process? It's spiritual. Aningizwa. I think in indlala futhi. Capacity is not just a byproduct of a schooling process. Ukuthi ngiye esikolweni, I developed capacity. It's more spiritual than it is theoretical. That's why there are people with degrees. And by the way, a degree, it's a small amount of information on the course you studied. So you can't be big-headed because of a degree. There's still 98% of information you don't know about the course you have a degree going. You took umbrage, you took offense instead of hearing what I'm saying. So degree is just a small amount of information you have about the course you studied. And remember textbook yako skolong. Can I close ka 3? It's 10 to 3 now. Remember the textbook yako skolong. It's someone's thinking that has been approved in academia. So if you want to laud yourself, praise yourself, worship yourself based on your mastery of someone's thinking, and you are lazy to apply your thinking, and also have others drink from, we all can make children. But we want that one thing that you have innovated, that one thing that you have pioneered. Of course. Of course. It falls under the category because you won't find it in Alexandra. Yeah. Of course. So all of us must have at least one thing. I'm not talking of many things. One thing you have brought into this world that has never been in existence. Now, this makes you international, global, not local, because the world will come for that thing. But if you don't have that thing, what will the world come for? And that's why some people don't even have passports, because they don't see themselves as international material. Their self-perception is local. You have not even covered 9 provinces in your own country. How are we going to start talking about Kenya, Zambia, or Botswana just here? But if you have that one thing that the world can come for in your life. By the way, your brother, let me give this testimony. When I met Ntate Tenyane, that was last year, 2024, in August. I didn't know him. I didn't know about him. Even Ntati, I did not know about her. I was invited by the district director to come and motivate the learners. I went there. I had these 2 titles in my hand. And I said, out of these learners that are here, after speaking to them, I said, out of these learners that are here, I want to give these 2 books to number 1 and number 2. Okay? Then I sat down. Then Ntate Tenyane stood. His time came. Ntati introduced him to come and speak. Wabana haso na le tšhelete mfethu. How prepare the PowerPoint slide? Ke PowerPoint ya eng o na le tšhelete, because you just stand there and say, I was poor, now I'm rich. And then people cry. Ba lla ba kene moyeng.
So I'm on the right track.
You are on the right track. But how sa koko banyana o tshwana le rona nyana tshwantse prepare 30 PowerPoint slides to impress the audience. But when you have money, you just stand there and say, I was poor like you. But now I've parked the Lamborghini outside. Then people will give you a standing ovation just like that. All right, he did that. He stood there and he said, I was poor, now I'm moneyed. And his speech was more impactful than mine. But one thing that was a Kairos moment for me, he said, these books that you spoke about, I've listened to you and I loved your content. I'm touched. I want you to take those books that you spoke about. Give all these learners that are here. There were 250. Yeah, and they paid for those books. Now, imagine I didn't have this one thing that I've brought into the world that is brought only by me. I would have missed the Kairos moment that God had orchestrated between people who don't know each other. Okay? The other year, the Department of Education says to me, we want books from you that we can put in schools' libraries.
Sure.
I'm saying this humbly, but it was a project of over 500,000. And I didn't have 500,000 with me.
That's it.
But I had something I brought into the world that nobody has ever brought. Even the department, which is not a human being, came and wanted to drink from the well. Amen. Because the well has substance. I think I've given you enough. Let me tell you about the books that I brought here. We've got some copies outside there, so if you can grab for yourself or talk to somebody if we're now really broke. Ako thuse, ako investele in your process or life of self-development. Only self-development and there's self-development. So there are people with books, but they've shelved them.
Yeah.
So they are developing shelves, not themselves. Reading is not an easy activity. It's not easy. But once you start, and it is built within your system, you will not want to sleep without reading. Now imagine Wanako Khai, if you had read every day from January until today, who would you be today? You'll stand like me and give a presentation for 10 hours without referring to notes. Because you don't just speak substance if you have not inculcated substance. You inculcate it within your system and you will obviously, perennially, overtly give out what you have within you. The law of possession. You can't give what you don't possess. So imagine comparing yourself with your age group. Those you went to school with, and you are a daily reader. and you are given platform, both of you. Somebody who doesn't read, who has a degree but have ceased to read, and you are reading every day, and they say talk at the same time. You're going to release arsenals. Yeah, you're not going to speak mediocrity. Rona romamela the first 2 minutes. Substance. We give an excuse. Get an answer a call because I don't want to contaminate my system.
I'm trying to locate him when I was speaking to the people. Was he there? Did he just walk out?
I stayed and I wanted more when you spoke in Limpopo because there was substance. I mean, she made people cry there. You are not a normal yini person. You can put your price because you've got substance.